Well, welcome to the hallowed carpet. What an extraordinary session of snooker we've just witnessed. Ronnie O'Sullivan is leading 6-2 against Shaun Murphy, despite losing the first 2 frames. Murphy gifting him a whole load of chances. And on the other side of the arena, Neil Robertson, who could barely put a foot wrong yesterday against Mark Allen, has really struggled against Judd Trump. He trails 6-2. George Riley from 5 Live has joined me to talk about the 2 matches. First of all, what a start from Murphy. And then to let Ronnie in, he'll be absolutely kicking himself.
He will. He'll be kicking himself. He'll be fuming, I think, actually, Shaun. He started brilliantly with a century, and I think it was, a 59 or so in the second. And he looked good. Ronnie needed a snooker in the third. We were thinking 3-0. We were thinking 4-0 off the back of that. But somehow he's contrived to gift trap him, well, at least 3 of those next 4 frames. And Ronnie only got going the last 2. And then we saw his brilliance with the 90-odd and then the 136. And that was when Murphy he would have been steaming inside. He knew when you get a chance against Ronnie O'Sullivan, it doesn't happen that often. It's probably 1 session max or part of a session. You have to take it if you're going to have a chance. He hasn't. Ronnie has a big cushion, and you have to wonder whether that is now it for Shaun Murphy.
Well, apparently Stephen Hendry live in the BBC studio. If you're watching live, you've already heard him say this. But just to reiterate, Stephen apparently has said, as far as he's concerned, that match is over now.
Yeah, well, he knows a lot more about snooker than me. I wouldn't have written Shaun Murphy off just yet, but I know he'll be fuming with the fact that he's 6-2 down, and he played pretty well. He gave himself a perfect platform, but too many little errors, too many chances to Ronnie. And he basically said, here you are, play yourself back into the contest. And that's exactly what O'Sullivan did.
Well, it's been interesting watching Ronnie in this year's championship. The emotion when he came off, literally just a couple of feet from where we're standing now. He was fist pumping towards the crowd after coming back against Joe Perry. It hasn't all been flawless. He's had to earn this so far, and that might be no bad thing.
Yeah, you're right. I think the thing we've enjoyed most about Ronnie so far is that snapshot of emotion that we saw. If you needed a little bit of a reminder that this does actually mean a lot to Ronnie, because a lot of the time you look at him and think, well, he's not interested. He wants this really, really badly. He wants to get up to 6 world titles. He wants to go to 7. He wants to go to 8. He knows, well, he doesn't know how many years he's got left, so he knows he's got to start getting cracking whether he's going to do it. He wants it, but he's played in fits and starts, and I always looked at that draw and thought quarter-final is going to be make or break for Ronnie. Up against Shaun Murphy, we expected that probably would be the case. And he's almost broken the back of it already. If he can get a good start in the next session, he'll feel good. And with all due respect to whoever comes through the Dale-Hawkins match, you'd probably fancy Ronnie to get through that as well.
Yeah, well, it would be. From a neutral's perspective, there'll be many people hoping that he gets through to the final, where a lot of people were expecting it may well have been a Ronnie-Robbo final. And certainly on the evidence, the 4 frames that Neil Robertson smashed out yesterday, coming within a whisker of the ton of tons, everybody would have thought he may well have taken Judd Trump apart today. But there were a few people, including Philip Studd, formerly of 5 Live, now with Eurosport, who thought that Judd would come out all guns blazing. And what a fantastic start from him to come out with that confidence against a player who he would have known yesterday was playing flawless snooker. That is a brilliant, brilliant start for the youngster from Bristol.
Well, it's worked perfectly for Judd, hasn't it? There's no pressure on him. Everyone's been talking about Neil, this record. When's he going to get a century of centuries? We all thought it would be this afternoon. He came so close 3 or 4 times yesterday. We all sprinted in from the media room in here to witness him doing it, and then it didn't quite happen. And Judd's just been sitting there thinking, well, I know I can beat him. And even we got that kind of sense in his press conference when we were asking about Neil and the record and how well he's playing. He's like, well, he doesn't get any money for it. He doesn't win anything for it. I know I can beat him. And he's come out today, and Judd's played really, really well. Neil will be a little bit miffed that he's so far behind. And I think we've been asking him whether it's a distraction, the record. I mean, he hasn't had much of a chance in this match so far. The previous match he did, he was going for reds, perhaps, which he wouldn't have gone for if he didn't, in the back of his mind, want to get a century. But Judd Trump has just had absolutely no pressure, because we've all been talking about the world number 1. We've all been talking about Robertson. Was it Mark Allen who said no one can live, even Ronnie can't live with Neil Robertson?
Yeah, with the form that he's playing against me, he's unbeatable. We
were even looking beyond Judd Trump at this point, saying I can't see anyone stopping him, getting the trophy again and getting to the final. Well, he might not even get into the semis the way it's going.
Well, it's interesting because it's only 3 years ago that Judd Trump walked down those stairs with John Higgins for the concluding session of the final, and I've never heard noise like it. It was such a tight encounter, and Judd really captured people's imaginations. And okay, the following 3 years haven't gone all according to plan. But have we forgotten a little bit of the magic that Judd can sprinkle on a tournament when he's on top form? And is he showing us that here now?
I think he is in this match. He wasn't brilliant in his opening match, and he came in and said, well, I'm a lot better player than that. And we said, well, are you going to get better? And he says, well, hopefully I won't have to get better. I can drag people down to my level. I think we perhaps have forgotten how good he is. Part of that would be his fault, because he's gone off the boil a little bit. But also part of that is we're so distracted by the other two big names we've had on the table this afternoon, Ronnie O'Sullivan and Neil Robertson. He's kind of fallen by the wayside a bit. And again, he's just quietly gone about his business and said, keep focusing on the other players and I'll go and win my snooker matches.
Well, those two absolutely dynamite performances this afternoon from Ronnie and from Judd Trump. They have a little bit of time to think about their next session, but coming back out here on the arena floor in literally about half an hour, 20 minutes time, we've got the second session. Barry Hawkins is resuming 6-2 up against Dominic Dale. Dominic really kicking himself after that, and Barry has the knowledge that he's been to the final before and arrives here with the confidence of that great win, pocketing 100 grand, winning the Players' Championship in Preston. Dominic needs a massive start tonight.
And a fear for him already, Dominic Dale. I've got to say, he's been playing really well to get through the draw and get as far as he has. Dominic, 14 years since his last quarter-final, which tells you something about what he's achieved already here. Barry scored really, really heavily this afternoon. He had 5 years in a row when he couldn't get past the first round here. As soon as he'd done that, a couple of years, second round, and then bang into the final. And now he's tasted that last year. You sense he wants to get back to the business end of this competition. And he scored so well this afternoon. He didn't really give Dominic Dale the opportunity. And as you say, I saw him actually. I was walking through town on my mobile phone and I saw Dominic coming out, still dressed in his zebra shoes and his suit. Basically, he must have come straight out of the arena, head down, looked in a really, really bad mood, just walked straight off. So Barry's in a good place there, I think.
Yeah, Dominic, so often the nice guy, but he's really going to want to turn this round tonight, and he's going to need a quick start. The other match, unfairly could be labelled as one for the purists. It hasn't been the quickest encounter between Mark Selby and Alan the Angles McManus. They were pulled off after 7 tonight. They will play 9, we have been told. And all credit to the Angles for digging in. It's 23 years since his debut here at the Crucible. Mark Selby's got the slight advantage, but the Angles can't be ruled out because he's a canny lad for 43, and he's done brilliantly so far in this tournament. He's got nothing to lose.
No, in terms of class and what they can both produce on the big stage, I think everyone, including the two players, would agree that Mark Selby is by far the more dominant of the two. Alan McManus has got to do what he's done all his career and grind it out, make it a cagey, drawn out, and let's be honest, very long session of snooker. And that's what happened this afternoon. And he only finds himself a frame down. We played a frame less, so he could have been 2 down. But Selby can't complain about that because he's done that to a few opponents himself in the past when he's been up against the quick-flowing, flamboyant, big-scoring players. So he's done that. McManus knows if he's going to win this match, that's what he's got to do. And I think we should perhaps be braced for more of the same this evening.
Yes, it could be a long night here. There'll certainly be a cracking atmosphere in the Crucible. We're really starting to bubble up now. We're only a day and a bit away from the single table setup here, which all the players who've ever made a semi-final will tell you is when this tournament takes on a whole new meaning. So it's Hawkins against Dominic Dale. Hawkins 6-2 up. And then Mark Selby with 1 frame advantage over the Angles, but they go 9 tonight. We better get off here because the live action will be starting very, very soon. Plenty more drama to come here as the drive towards the semi-finals continues. But from George and myself, that's pretty much all for now. We'll see you tomorrow lunchtime.
World Snooker Champion John Higgins.